Good evening, good morning, good whatever. Zach Jackson, Andre Knott. It's the A to Z podcast.
Yeah, baby.
We are live and outside.
We're living live,
We are together for the first time in months. I was just going to sing some Reunited and It Feels So Good.
Oh, that's good. When I get to play a little music, it's the first of the month. I ain't going to play a lot of it.
Listen, when I got in the car today, leaving Browns, no, you know what? And we do say bad words on this, just as a disclaimer, in case you're easily offended if there's kids in the car. Come back another time, or put your earbuds in. Oh, okay. I'm trying to give him a second. I get in the car today, leaving Berea. I got to make a couple stops. I'm meeting you here at such and such time, right?
Right.
The first song that comes on, I had it on 1021. The mix station that plays everything from current to the 60s.
You can play it with your mom in the car.
Michael Jackson, Black or White, was the first one that was on.
Ooh, that's a classic. That's definitely a classic.
Remember that? Didn't that video debut like after an episode of The Simpsons or some shit?
Yes, it was huge. It was like on national. It was like Fox, and that's when Fox was just coming in and like trying to find a way to be hip.
What year would that have been without Google?
Jeez, 91.
I was gonna guess early 90s.
Gotta
be
early.
Look
90s.
this up.
It may be like 89, 90. But yeah, well, somebody will tweet us. We don't got to look it up. Someone will tell us in the next 24 hours, and that's fine.
I mean, it's not for the context of the conversation.
It's funny you bring that up because we were at a restaurant that was outside Minnesota a few days ago. They have a barrio in Minnesota. If you ever go to Minnesota, is hot, by the way, in the summer. Yeah, like it's a good time to go right now. Great, one of the
land of 1,000 lakes and 1 million white people.
Yeah. We call it a bunch of Amazonians. A lot of blondes that are way taller than me. So if you're taller than me, you got game. You got a chance. So Zach, you stay home. But we were outside of John Randall's restaurant, and this is my life in a nutshell. And you already know the end part of this. So this is 3 nights ago. We're in Minnesota. We get there and we go to a barrio. They have a barrio in Minnesota, but it's not like barrio in Cleveland. It's
called barrio.
It's called barrio.
Okay.
Tacos, same thing, guac, everything. So we sit outside, right outside of John Randall's restaurant that's right there in downtown Minnesota. And John Randall's restaurant played Michael Jackson songs for like 45 minutes straight. Come to find out, a bum somehow snuck in and put $10 in and played all the music. But Black and White was one of the songs. And then he ended up asking one of my friends for cigarettes for an hour straight because he gave him 4. He couldn't do that. And Rick, I'm all about random acts of kindness, and I try to help people out, but sometimes they get over aggressive. So fast forward to my flight today on Wednesday. I get on a plane leaving because it was a Facebook game, and I'll leave my feelings about the Facebook game and what MLB is trying to do with Facebook, and I'm sure you guys have your own opinions about not being able to see a game on TV that should have been on TV. And we get on a plane. We all say, well, screw it. We could have flew with the team, but I want to get the reason we're doing this right now is because
you were able to get home.
Because I was able to get home.
Right.
I hung out with my kids already. I've already been a dad, and I'm kind of a husband, but that's a whole other story.
We'll talk about that afterwards. Subscription only, $8.50 a month.
There you go. Oh shit. Oh, we're good enough that you can pay $150 a month.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that because we're outside now, and I think I'm a little worried people are hearing the crickets more than us.
Well, it's better than somebody doing play-by-play of a fucking playoff game from 1986.
That was the low.
Anyway.
Wait, can I say that?
No. Well, no, you can't. You're not a made man. It was a low this week.
I really want to go there.
So I get on a plane. We don't have to. It is what it is. They are where they are. Hey, everybody plays at the level that they are at. That's the way I look at it. Everybody's at their level.
We are here. We've got 2 chairs, 1 table, 9 White Claws.
Bam.
Hanging out.
Just talking. So I get on a plane today, leaving to come home from Minnesota. I see this big-ass black dude in the front of the plane. I don't think anything of it, because why would I? It's like I get on the plane, we land, and we're walking behind this guy, and I keep seeing people walk up to him. And I realize it's John Randall, whose restaurant I refuse to go to.
Coming here for the Hall of Fame.
Calling here for the Hall of Fame. And he's taking pictures of people and everything else. And then you hear that voice. And I just want to go up to him and go, "Regulators!"
Do you have his face painted?
He had a face paint. Cool. That's one of the cool things about being in Northeast Ohio, first week of August. We talked about this in another pod that you'll hear soon. We recorded 2 tonight. So if I reference to something, maybe you'll hear it tomorrow. Maybe you already heard it. I don't know how you guys listen. Just listen.
Yeah, so I can tell you I remember John Randall as a player, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little bit of a savant. But I remember having John Randall's football card, and it was never him wearing a helmet. It was him running out with the
face
with
paint
the black paint.
Yeah.
Right? So that leads me to last night. So it was my off day from camp. to make a long story short, which is not our specialty if you listen to A to Z, got a friend who's a lifelong Cubs fan. He happened to be in town for the week, which is pretty rare in his job.
I should have punched him in the face when I knew him 35 years ago for being.
But anyway, so he's got his 8 or 9 year old son that loves baseball more than anything and has all the Cubs jerseys,
which is awesome.
Whatever. Sits in front of the video game for hours, plays home run derby. So he looks in the afternoon, goes on whatever secondary ticket website, sees a couple front row seats down the Cubs baseline, and he buys them.
His dad does.
The dad,
okay.
Yes. And so after that, he calls me and says, me and Will are going. You think you would want to go? So, well, I was off. I was going to be done 3 o'clock with my work. I said, yeah, that's perfect. PNC Park is...
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
One of the best in the major league.
And from where we live in Akron, it's like an hour and 45 minutes away. It's awesome.
I got to admit, when I saw it on Instagram, I was like, this dick didn't tell me this.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that I know so much about your life and you know so much about your life that when I see someone on Instagram that doesn't match, I feel like a jilted lover.
Right, you are a jilted lover. Time out!
I was like, I go to the baseball ballparks. He goes to football places.
This was my first major league game in like years. The last 4 Indians games I went to, I never made it in.
You didn't get past what's the bar with
yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I've been to them all.
Right.
So anyway, so here's how it goes. So it ends up being 3 of us adults and 3 kids. They're 8, 9, 11, 12, somewhere in that range, right?
Right.
And I bring this up for this reason. So they're watching movies in this probably $50,000 Suburban with pull-down screens, all the shit we never had.
Right. For sure.
And so we're talking, and Will in particular, the little guy, my buddy's little guy, like he knows his sports. Like he will talk fantasy football with me. He will talk NBA stat. He plays Madden on Dynasty mode and drafts his own teams, and knows the best players and all this stuff. So we're just making random baseball talk, and we're talking about Mount Rushmores of Pirates and Cubs, because that's what we're going to.
Oh, no, he don't know Willie Stargell. He don't know we are family.
Well, we look in the back, Trey, and these kids, we might as well be speaking French.
Right.
Because these kids love sports.
But they
don't play sports. Right, they compete.
Right. They know it, but they don't know.
Because cards is what brought us to that.
For sure. Okay.
Right? And so then, that's what I'm talking about. So for football, they wouldn't know John Randall. Now, I'm not sure they would. Who's this generation's John Randall? Aaron Donald?
Ooh.
They might know him from Madden, but that's it.
Aaron Donald needs to get
So
paid.
I fear like a disconnect. Like I said,
pay him. Pay
I'm
that
not
man.
going to be total grumpy old man
Right.
and say that our country's doomed because these kids don't know Roberto Clemente
Ooh.
and Willie Stargell and Honus Wagner.
Oh, snap! That's
But like
look at that. That's
right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying they were like, we're going to go watch this movie, Dad.
But take it a step further.
Piss off.
But see, and that's where I think we have to be careful in our generation. What you say, I roll with and I go with, but we have to be careful of that because your dad and my dad laughed at you and laughed at your brother, laughed at me, laughed at Rob, and laughed at us because we didn't know the generation they grew up with. We didn't know Henry Aaron. We didn't know, we barely knew Robin Yount. Like, that's what's great for me to be around. I'm glad you brought this up. It's great for me to be around Rick Manning. Rick Manning played his first game like in '76. Wasn't even alive yet. Now I know a lot about his career, and like for people that and I love people that talk shit about Rick Manning. Rick Manning was, to a certain extent, he was.
Wasn't the number 2 pick in the
He's
whole
number
draft?
2 pick in the draft.
Yeah,
18 years old and played like 3 years later. He was in the big leagues. He was, for all intents and purposes, the Francisco Lindor of '76. Now it didn't turn out that well for him career wise as a player. But sometimes we'll bring up a name or I'll bring up a player and he'll be like, yeah, I played against him in high school. Yeah, I played, and he doesn't say it bragging. Like, and that's the thing Rick doesn't do on the air. Rick isn't braggadocious. Rick isn't look at me. Rick isn't like, I was great. Rick wasn't, you wouldn't even know. You can listen to 3 games in a row of the Indians and not know that Rick Manning played. Because I get it all the time. Who is this asshole? He's not about himself like that, which is awesome to me. But I know when I eat dinner with him and I eat lunch with him or I'm like just shooting the shit with him on the plane.
You're always eating.
Damn right. About to eat after this podcast. I might eat during this podcast. I'm at the crib, man. I can do whatever I want. This is home base.
I'm moving in for a few days.
You should. I know Bella expects to see you when she wakes up tomorrow morning. Is Uncle Z leaving? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, we'll see how the White
Time out. We'll re-examine this after the podcast.
But the cool thing, like, and I guess the resource, because to what you said about Will, there's times where Rick Manning can look at me like that, and we had where he goes, dude, I played with Robin Yount at 19 years old. Like, and not like, and he doesn't say it to me bragging. He says it to me of like I told you guys a story last year where there's a scout who's like 85 years old. His name's Gordy, and he's the nicest man in the world, and I treasure him because I hate saying dying. He's the last of a dying breed. Mm-hmm. He's watched he scouted everybody. Like there ain't nobody else. He scouted like everybody.
Right.
And like last year, I told the story when we were in Baltimore, and it was Jim Palmer, Rick Manning, Gordy, and my little fat black ass. Like I didn't fit it. Like like if you did one of these things, it's me. I don't match.
Right.
And they're telling me stories about fast white outfielders from like 72 till today.
Yeah.
And they were comparing Rick Manning, saying how he was the fastest white man they'd ever seen, and then Bradley Zimmer showed up. Like that was like the end joke.
A different time.
So I feel you. But I think kids like Will and kids like Babe's kids and other kids that we know that love sports like we do, and other coaches and other families that we know like sports, the kids that are going to be the A to Z in 20 years, I think they'll be watching the NFL Hall of Fame ceremony on Saturday night like we were, and maybe not know their careers, but they're going to learn about the careers of the Ray Lewises and
See, I'm not sure because here
you don't think so.
And what you said is great and it's true. And if you're really into that, you're really into that. But here's where I fear the disconnect is. Okay, like I used to go to Pirates games at Old Three Rivers.
Same.
And this one they were good.
Bobby
right?
Bowe, you were watching Bobby.
So if
Bowe.
I'm over there and I'm going with my grandparents or my parents or whoever it is, Mr. Adamson. I'm talking about Andy Van Slyke, who I knew what number he wore, and
18.
all this stuff, right? And Barry Bonds, and they're telling me, well, yeah, he's this and he's that, and he's not as good as Willie Stargell,
right?
Or this. Whereas we're driving over there and they're watching a movie on the DVD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Talked about the game the whole
like,
time. Right?
Yeah, we get back in the car and we think they're going to sleep. They don't. They jump on the iPad and they play
video
some
games.
games.
Yeah.
And it's
they're in a different world. They're in a different world.
It's a different world.
But, okay, but if you love sports, maybe they don't love sports the way we love sports, but they're going to love sports.
Well, I'll say this: in this generation where it's specialized and soft, and the parents just take their kids from one travel team to another and one high school to another. For these three kids that I'm talking about in particular, I always tell their parents they're going to be all right when it comes to whatever their ceiling is athletically, they're going to reach it. Because when we're together, just in a normal setting, they're not in the car. They're not on the iPad. They're competing.
Right.
Now it ends in blood, in tears,
and that's great.
But they want to play wiffle ball and keep
Yeah,
stats. They want to race bikes and keep stats.
So they're fine.
They want to do all of that.
They're fine.
Yes, I just feel like
I know what you're saying.
I mean, and not everybody's a stat nerd like me. Just like not everybody can be an explosive athlete like Myles Garrett.
Right.
Not everybody can be a total dweeb like me.
Wait a minute. Speaking of, I got to do some Action Jackson.
Okay.
And don't worry, we are going to get to. There's a reason why we're recording this, and we're going to get to it. But I think both of us are enjoying the claw and enjoying just the moment of being able to shoot the shit.
It's a first night of the greatest month of the year, people.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to enjoy it. Going to Action Jackson, and I go out. You know me, I'm a fan right now, and like to the fullest. Great article about the white linebacker. Hope science helps him.
Well, it's got him this far.
No doubt. That's what's awesome about it. Good research. You put the claw down long enough to do some. You did your job. You earned your check. Where's my fucking hat at, by the way? Shout out to Zach Meisel. And shout out to Jordan Bastian, who I know are listening and laughing right now. Offset. They love the offset thing too. They're like, how did Joe Thomas tell us that his boy wasn't going to play left tackle, and on August 1, his boy was playing left tackle? And I know it just happened today, but that to me is you're a week away from your first game. Joel Bitonio is one of your best offensive linemen, and I do go with play your best five guys. I believe in that. But
here's why I can't answer that either, because what free agency was like what, March 14th or something, right?
Right.
So Joe, out of courtesy to the team, officially retired on like March 4th. Okay? I'm making the dates up.
Right. I know what you mean.
But March 24th, we're in a group meeting with John Dorsey at the owners' meetings under some fancy umbrella at a fancy pool in Orlando, Florida. And someone, I forget who, there was 5 or 6 of us writers there, says, what about moving Joel out to his college position?
Right.
And John Dorsey looks at us and says, Joel's a guard.
Right.
And a damn good one. Which he is. And that's why he got $50 million.
All agree.
So then in the spring, we're looking, and it's the same 2 or 3 guys playing tackle. And you see Chris Hubbard there on the left for 1 or 2 plays, and you see Joel for like 4 plays. And you ask Joel, and he says, you know what? I'm doing it because I'm doing it. But I'm a guard. That's all I know. And even if they move me out there, I'm willing to do it, but then we got to move 2 other guys. Then you ask the O-line coach, and he says, we're doing it because it's the time to experiment.
Absolutely.
But Joel's a guard and a damn good one, and we're not going to do it. So we come to camp, and now it's time to get to brass tacks because you get 2 practices and you get in pads.
It's real.
You only get 15 real practices the whole time.
Good point.
Okay? So we see Sean Coleman every rep. which is what you want. Somebody's got to come take the job from him. You see Austin Corbett backup reps. Some guys get hurt. But let's be honest, nobody's counting on Greg Robinson. If anybody could count on Greg Robinson, he wouldn't be on the street.
He wouldn't be here.
This is how it works, right? So all of a sudden they got an off day, and Joel's there. And Joel's saying, well, had I known this, I would have maybe dropped some weight. I'd have maybe worked on this with Joe Thomas.
Speed a little bit, right?
So it's a total panic move. Now, it doesn't matter.
It could change in a week, but go ahead.
It doesn't mean that it's the wrong move.
No.
But yes, if you do this in March or May, it's different and it's understandable.
I don't want to be this guy.
And listen, and if you ask Joel to drop 10 or 12 and to work on his technique,
right,
and then it doesn't work out, then he just puts it back on and moves back
and goes back into where he's natural. And that's where I want to say something.
And now we got, over the next 10 days, guys, the Browns only got like 4 practices because they got off-season travel, mandatory by all this stuff. Some of these practices are on cards. You know, that just means, they're walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to move a guy that's 26 years old that hasn't played it since he's 22?
Don't tweet me. Don't come at me on this. Don't hug me, bro. A lot of you guys get caught up in like the sexy part. A lot of you guys are going to be sitting with lotion on your couch next Tuesday or Wednesday whenever the first Hard Knocks comes on, or going to the party. Congrats. These are the things I look at, and maybe I'm wrong. And look, I can say that. I know you don't hear that on most radio stations or most podcasts. These are the things, and being around organizations, being pretty close enough to know like the real stories and not the stories that we got to tell on the air. These are the type of things that start breaking up the system. Because to me, when the coaching staff says we got to look at this guy, and maybe they're just, and look, listen to me, they may just be looking at him there, which is okay. It's okay to just take a look.
Because he obviously knows how to play left guard.
Right, but yeah, he can play it. But like when you hear him say, well, if you're going to put me out there and I would have lost weight, to me that's a sign of, and I'm not saying panic. Hear me out, Zach. If he's there a week from today when we're talking, like if he's out there playing left tackle next week, to me this is the first strand of management's thinking one thing, coaching staff's thinking another.
Exactly, because Dre, on April 29th or whatever, that's when they drafted Austin Corbett, right? Yeah. Okay, so he's a college left tackle in the Mountain West. Everybody says, and I'm not claiming I know anything about offensive line play. Right. Everybody says he's a center guard, and he looks like a center guard. Mm-hmm. He does not have dimensions.
No.
Now, some guys overcome that.
Yes.
It's been done, but it necessarily hasn't been done. So then you start looking and say, wait a second. They just took a guy at 33. They have a glaring hole at left tackle, but he can't play left tackle.
I remember they had 4 picks in the first 34 or whatever.
We have a $50 million guy at left guard. We have a $22 million guy at center. We have a $60 million guy at right guard. We have a $38 million guy at right tackle. So he's got to play left tackle or something else is going to happen.
Got to move somebody, right.
So you're right. So right then and there is the time to make the move if the move has to be made.
And I'm trying to tell you guys.
And I mean, I might be off by 4 snaps when I say Joel only played 4 snaps there in the spring, but I'm not off by more than 4 snaps.
Right. And all I'm telling you guys is when these type of things happen, this is when, like, you guys get caught up in the quarterback snaps. You guys get caught up. This is a move. I'm not saying it's a move of panic. This is one of those.
But I could be wrong.
But we both may be wrong. But when I see this and I read it and I see the quotes from the coach and the players and talk to you, that's the first one of, hey, man, we still need a left tackle. And remember, my first Action Jackson, I asked you, what do they do with the Joe Thomas situation? And they were nonchalant about it, and that's not a position to be nonchalant about.
No.
You guys should be starting.
There's a reason that the top guys make $70 million.
Ken Carbon, Anthony Lima, Andy Baskin. I'm only saying one station because
Raj just had a good camp, by the way.
Man, you know I love Raj. But you know what? I take my.
It's his job to talk and drive talking. He's done that.
Raj is awesome at his job. He's better than everybody else that thinks they're good.
Yeah,
Raj is great. Am I his boy? Yes. And do I attack him like no one else when he's wrong?
Yes.
Would you but I keep that between him and I when I don't agree with him. But I'll say this: pay attention. The people that are really doing those jobs, pay attention to things like this. It's easy. The easiest thing to do is to go in and talk about the quarterbacks. The things to pay attention to are things like this, because that to me tells you, because that's why I asked you. Left tackle is just as important as a quarterback. Okay, I shouldn't say that because I've gotten in fights with people about this.
Yeah.
Left tackle is
it's the quickest way to get your quarterback killed.
Thank you. If you don't have a left tackle, you don't have a quarterback. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult.
You don't have a good quarterback without a good left tackle.
It makes it very difficult.
So you can't be nonchalant about that position in the offseason.
And listen, this goes to the whole discussion of like what does can't matter, right? Well, in a way, it doesn't matter much more now that he's got to get there. Sure. Do they have time to do this? Yeah. I just feel like, Dre, why now?
Right.
You know?
Let me keep talking because I want to find something from
there were signs like nobody would come out and endorse Sean Coleman.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I've been there. Until today, he took every first-team snap, except for those handful in the spring when it was declared experimentation, which is exactly what the spring practices are for.
Wait a minute. The offense didn't score a touchdown in a situational 2-minute series today?
No, I know that shocks you.
I can't wait. Somebody that I love very much that I work with, he said he watched the trailer for Hard Knocks. I'll just say it. Because if Matt gets mad at me, I'll buy him a drink. So Underwood and I are having breakfast this morning. Hey, I always eat. Go ahead.
You're listening to the Andre Not Food Hour with Zach Jackson.
And somebody said on Instagram, I'm looking slim. I just had soup for lunch today. And he goes, man, I watched the trailer for Hard Knocks last night. He goes, I'm a tad unimpressed. I go, yeah. I mean, what do you want to do?
Yeah, but listen, I'm going to be on HBO's side for a second.
Because your fat ass probably going to be on it.
No, I hope not.
You're going to be in the background. What did Deke say?
My spatial awareness.
What did Deke say?
Deke said that Hard Knocks was looking for me. They needed a sunblock. That's what that asshole said. Yes.
We need this is how we need to get Deke. We need to get Deke on a deck like this. We need to go to his house, sit out on the lake, and set everything up and do Deke this way.
When do you have 3.5 free hours?
Shit, it's amazing.
How are we gonna get home from Bay fucking Village?
We're sleeping at Deke's. And I don't think I trust going to sleep at Deke's.
I'm gonna have to call our people and see if we got that Uber in the budget.
Yeah,
I don't think we did.
Yeah, you're right. God, I was going through this. Where was they? And come on, I love you guys, Browns PR. And pass me one of those, son. I can't find where he kind of questioned the questions today.
Oh, okay. So
help me.
We talked to the O-line coach just the other day. Now who's calling?
That's me. Me.
Okay.
Timeout.
Sorry, we're freewheeling here. We talked to the O-line coach.
Yeah.
And the question again came up, Batonio. And Joel said this himself. I gave you his answer. And the coach said, that is the last plan. From A to Z, that's Z.
Right.
3 days ago.
Right.
Sunday. Sorry, guys. Once football rolls around, especially training camp, I don't know. In regular season, I know what day of week it is because it goes Sunday to Sunday.
I don't know what
At this
day
point,
it is.
I don't know. I'm just glad I showed up here tonight
too.
And packed the equipment because it was questionable at some point. So Hugh said, basically, I think you guys asked too many questions. And people snickered, and he said, I'm being honest. And which, we know he's
can't
not
say
honest.
that.
Yeah. And he said,
especially on August 1st.
And then he said, which he should have said, I'm the coach. These are not my coach's decisions. So listen, for every step, everything we try to tell you, and we have gone out of our way, in a way, to tell you when the Browns are making positive steps towards being a real organization. But here he's playing deny to the reporters that it ever happened.
Right.
And he's throwing his coaches under the bus.
Well, and you don't start on August 1st with that. And I understand now that he's going through a tough situation. We all go through tough situations. But don't start picking little fights, especially with the Cleveland media, on August 1st.
Majoring in the minor.
God damn. You guys wonder why we talk about Berea the way we do. Things like this. And people that are in the game, they cringe when they're just like, that's the beauty of where I'm at now. Like, when people that are like, and you have other people in the NFL that are like, hey, do you see did you see this quote? Yeah. Like, people that are in the know are just like, what are they doing?
And you know what, Dre? And that's the line. Like, you got to find a left tackle,
right?
So, however and whatever said, you got to find that,
yes.
Right? And like people, these were great questions. I did a live Q&A on The Athletic, and someone said, 2-part question. A, is it time to panic? And B, what do you think the magnitude? Because you asked me this last podcast of Joe Thomas's comments. And I said, I really don't think that matters. Well, now what Joe is,
but it does because
has come to fruition.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked, because I was like,
yeah.
Because here's the deal that the Browns don't understand, and you got to love Joe Thomas. You got to love him because he's him. It's like, it's the problem they ran into with God, everything is cyclical.
Look.
It's the problem they ran in with Bernie, though. He's so beloved by your fans that everything he says is gospel, and he may not be trying to make things difficult for you.
Thanks for making this point I was reaching for.
Yeah, but he's not trying to make things difficult for you. He's giving his opinion, but now his opinion plays against what you're trying to achieve and what you're doing. So now all of a sudden you have in-house. And now Bernie, they can put up the little the bobblehead and let him and Tim Couch take pictures and put him and Dustin, like they got the best hair the Browns have ever had on the sideline. They can put them out there on the sideline of preseason games, and they can do all those little things. But they fear what Bernie Kosar really says. And that's why I said that about Joe Thomas. I wasn't forecasting it, but it's going to happen.
On August 1st, we don't know how this is going to play out. And Bitonio left tackle might be the right answer for this team. And whether it is or it isn't, not only do we not know, it's not going to matter for weeks, right?
Right.
But what did we talk about when we talked about why social media matters? How you spell on social media and the stupid things you tweet
right.
or the little conversation, because it's about presentation.
Yes.
So, Dre, even in the presentation department, even if last week for one drill, Joel Bitonio had gone out there, and then when he was asked about it, he said, we've said this thing is wide open.
We're working with everybody.
Experimenting. But instead,
it doesn't
when
become
you
a big
go
story.
to your one mandatory off day, and one guy has taken all the reps for 5 practices that you're trying to sell that matters, trying to sell to Hard Knocks and to your social media accounts and to all these things, and now you come out, and now it screams panic. So your presentation sucks.
Z just cracked the books. And then we can leave on this. They came off their off day, people. What happens on the off day? All the coaches, they all reconvene. They all sit around and watch tape together.
Which they should do. Good teams, bad teams. This is what you do.
But what happens, and usually you make your big changes after everybody sits and reconvenes.
But let's be honest, they're not all big. Sometimes you're trying to push somebody's buttons.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes you're trying to experiment.
And so maybe we've had a 15-minute conversation about something that doesn't mean anything, but there's a lot of signs that it means way more than they're letting on to.
Yes.
The frustration with the questions, playing someone that you haven't played there the whole time, coming off an off day,
what a perfect unintentional transition. Sometimes we are smarter than we look, because listen, guys, we don't know what went on with Zach Smith and his wife. We don't know what went on with Urban Meyer and his wife. We don't know what went on in the Ohio State offices today, in 2015, or any time in between. But we know right now, on August 1st, 2018, that Urban Meyer, one of the greatest football coaches who ever lived, one of the greatest football coaches in the country, pilot of an all-time program who's pushed it to a new level, is in danger of losing his job over some asshole assistant coach. And right now, what we know and where this might go, had Urban come out 2 weeks ago and said, part of the presentation, I blew it, I should have done this earlier, I take responsibility, we would not be here right now. But because he said I didn't know, now he's on administrative leave. And I don't know what's going to happen, Jerry, but 8 times out of 10, administrative leave is the exit ramp.
Yeah. I got something I want to play along to this, but I got to ask you something first. Oh man, it said the part right there. I used to be able to go with this because I could watch this.
This is our most interactive podcast ever.
It's a word here. It's a secret society. Loyalty. What is loyalty?
It's a hashtag these days.
Yeah. Thank you, Kendrick.
LeBron's got a tattoo of it.
Well, right, okay. His loyalty. But here's the question I'm going to ask you, and then we'll get back to loyalty, because this is what this is really about. And kids, listen, because this is the kids, everybody. You got to pick and choose what loyalty means to you and who you're going to be most loyal to and what that loyalty truly means. I'm going to come right out and ask you. And I don't have an answer, and you can ask me when you get done. Is this a fireable offense?
Yes. Potentially. We don't have all the facts.
Okay.
And I'm going to sit here and say, and this is the hard part, Dre, because it's 10 o'clock at night. 12 hours ago, this story broke. I would say this. For Ohio State to not make any statement for 8 hours in this day and age, that's like 8 days.
I didn't blame them. They had to rest on their laurels and get a feel of the wind, because you're right.
I wouldn't say rest on the laurels.
Not rest on the laurels. They had to get
they had to dig in.
They had to dig in and get what are we really truly up against?
Okay, but what I'm saying is that tells me that it was bad.
It's bad.
That it was on the verge.
Zach, it's bad. There's no doubt. This is bad. But to me, and I We text this.
And we're talking bad situation, not just bad for Urban. We're not trying to downplay any of this.
No, and we kind of hit on it earlier. Like, and we'll go back to the loyalty. My thing is, we all and we're all a part of this now because of social media. Because we're in a popcorn world, we all want fucking reaction instantly. I will take this side. I thought Ohio State did the first right thing they did in this whole situation because you know what? It shouldn't have taken this for this to happen. You shouldn't have a reporter that's got to break something on Facebook for them to find that information out. That information should have been known, and you shouldn't be sitting around trying to hide something.
Why do you think it's potentially fireable to one of the most powerful coaches in America?
It shouldn't just be fireable for him either. I continue to say this.
And if he gets it, it won't be.
Right.
Trust
I
me.
continue to say this to you, and I say this on this pod, and I say it to people that matter to me. Stop blaming the person that's in trouble and start looking at the people that hire them. If Urban Meyer is wrong in this, Gene Smith is wrong in this because he didn't do his job either. He didn't cross the T's and dot the I's. As soon as this became somewhat of a story, they should have suspended him right then and be like, "Hey, we need to look into this."
Yes, I need the truth.
They shouldn't be doing their own investigation on August 1. It should have been done the day they were in Chicago, and then when the embarrassment and the smear started. You shouldn't have, and no offense to the reporter, you shouldn't have a reporter that doesn't have you shouldn't have a reporter that's on Facebook breaking stories tell you that story.
Well, let's be honest. The reason he doesn't have a job is because he doesn't non-compete with ESPN.
Did I say that? That's why I bit my lip.
Yeah.
He's a good reporter.
No, I don't think people outside our business understand that.
Tell them that.
That's why
You're
I
right.
said
I'm
that.
glad you said that, and that's why I bit
he
my
was
lip.
part of the layoffs like 15 months ago or whenever it was with ESPN.
Getting screwed.
Yeah, getting screwed, and that they're reporting his news, and they don't. Congrats.
But look what he's done. As he can't compete for anybody else, his name is the hottest one going into the college football game.
Yes.
So congrats with an S to him. All I'm saying is, if Urban knew, he deserves to pay for it. But for the Ohio State athletic department and the president not to fully, especially after what happened with Jim Tressel, for them not to do their full job and to find this out before another reporter or anybody else can give them news is just as bad, in my opinion.
3 things. One, not to make light of this, but he is right. We talk about it all the time. The cliche, bigger you are, harder you fall. Higher up you get, the easier it is to get picked on, and you have to deal with it. You got to decide who you're willing to go down for.
Great.
2, there's ways to handle things, guys. And an attorney friend of mine told me this tonight in 2018. The way is never to lie.
No.
There's ways to dance. There's ways to sit out. There's ways to deflect.
Yes.
Lie, and we don't know he did that. And then 3, importantly, even though, again, not to downplay what allegedly happened here, there is some wiggle room here where he wiggles out of this.
Oh, I've already, yeah.
Because there's some.
If you can't prove he knew, you can't fire him.
There's some hearsay. There's some other things.
If you can't prove he knew,
so we're not talking in absolutes, but it goes back to my original point that Urban talks in absolutes.
Yes,
That's who he
is.
He dictates the conversation. He does not take the questions. He makes and answers them. He tells people when his press conference is over. He tells people how it's going to be. He's done that. He's earned that. He's driven these buses
Can I
to
say
this
something?
extent.
In
1 second, let me finish. But he, in absolutes, and we don't know what he said to his bosses then or now. We don't know what he really knew, and we might never know. It might come at the expense of him losing his job. But we don't know, Dre, how it could have gone or how it actually went. But we do know that on Big Ten Media Day 10 days ago, 14 days ago, whenever it was, 7, I think it was actually only 7 or 8, he did not have to say that he didn't know about he could have said, I fired Zach Smith because it was time, and it was probably time earlier, and I will take the bullet for that. Mm-hmm. And none of this comes out today, but Urban's covered his bases.
Yes.
Instead, Urban put on the shift,
mm-hmm.
and somebody laid the bunt down the other way.
Yes.
And again, I'm not trying to make light of this. I'm just saying that if Urban loses his job over this, or if the program suffers in any way, and his reputation, already whatever you think of it is, he left the door. His TV got stolen because he left the door.
He left the door open. He left the door unlocked. It's like bringing new books into the hood.
Want to hide your money? Put it in your books.
Put it in your books. We're not trying to joke about the situation, but if you know us, we're going to find something to smile about. Can I say this and be fair? Because of how Urban carry, and I'm saying this not as a journalist, I'm saying this as a fan of college football and wanting Ohio State to be great and go 12-0, 13-0 every year. Because he's been such an arrogant prick in so many situations for so long, it's hard to root for him right now as well.
This is part of it too.
And I know if I feel that way, who turns on Ohio State every Saturday, no matter where I'm at, and hopes they win. And because to me the program's bigger than any coach, but the coach. Since
we're going honesty here, let me say something.
Yeah,
morbidly is not the word. Bizarre, off the wall. Here's what I thought about today as I was driving. Because I just went for a drive between Brown stuff because I wanted to process this. Because I knew we were doing this tonight, and people are blowing me up. You know, some people that know stuff, some people that want to know stuff. Whatever.
Same here, right?
You know what I honestly thought about? Wonder what Luke Fickell, Mike Vrabel, Kerry Combs, just to name three, are thinking today.
Right.
Because they know.
They know. And same with the guy that's in Michigan. Warner.
Ed Warner.
Ed Warner. Yeah. He knows too. They all know.
Yeah.
They all know.
Right.
And that's why when we get all indignant and we're like, well, and I get it, you're the face of the program, and the face of the program has to fall. But if we're going to get all indignant on this.
Yeah, and see, that's the other thing. People that want to know why the highest paid official in every state is a football coach raise a hell of a valid question.
Yes, they do.
But when this stuff comes up, they're paid to be
the
CEO, the principal, the face, the everything.
Yes.
Right? And when this comes across your desk, whether you believe it or not,
and no matter how
whether it's true or not, whether what level you heard from,
right?
It is not just written in your contract; it's written in blood. It's supposed to be written in your everyday routine.
Right?
You better take it to somebody.
Well, yeah.
Listen, here's what the kids say. Wait. Hang on, I'm not that hip. What do the kids say? Grab the bag. It's lit. Pursue the bag.
No. They do have
secure the bag.
Secure the bag.
Secure the bag. That's what the kids say.
Keep going. This is like old school. This is like old school A to Z.
Yeah. Well, listen. Here's what Shelley Meyer was doing. Right? She was securing her own bag, and she was telling.
Wait a minute. Did I bring her up when we originally talked about this?
You did. You did. Tracy's stuff. Is that our saying? Unfortunately, and like I said, no matter the result, here's what she was doing with these texts that are out there. She was protecting the bag, right? She was worried about her interests, their interests, her finances, their finances. She wasn't doing what was right human to human. And Urban knew, Urban didn't know, Urban had a right to, Urban has a responsibility to. Responsibility is a big word. I get all that stuff. I'm saying the look here to me, combined with him not telling the truth, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying it's enough to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't believe I'm...
Me neither could I.
Listen,
well,
June 1st, when's the last time? It wasn't even before June 1st the last time we saw each other.
No, yeah.
What if we'd have just been bullshitting and you'd have said, give me a scenario where Urban Meyer's out before Hugh Jackson?
Oh, my God.
We'd have
snap.
We'd have had 20 fucking minutes of silence.
Yeah.
Or we'd have been in the biggest fantasy land ever. Because
right.
we would have never come up with nothing.
No, you're right. That's a great point. Like, because there wouldn't have been anything you could have told me. But that tells you where we're at. And this is our world today. In the Me Too world, in the world that we are in, and I don't think this is a bad thing. Because
exactly, it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
No, for all the jokes and all the laughing.
So many meatheads treat it like a bad
Yes,
thing.
This is our world. Everybody should be treated equally. Women, female, men, black, white, fat, big school, small school. That's how it should be. If you're a human being, you deserve to have human rights, and it's unbelievable.
Just like the accused deserve their process and everything else.
Yes, absolutely. And so if this happened and it wasn't taken care of, whether you're the head coach of Hoban or whether you're the head coach of Ohio State or whether you're the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, you do the right thing. Because I hate to get real about this, but isn't the number one job Urban Meyer is supposed to do is go into kids' homes and tell parents that I'm going to be like their father and I'm going to lead them and I'm going to show them the president. I'm going to give them the presidents of who they should be and how to be a real man.
Sound like you're quoting somebody.
I mean, that's his job. Isn't that what he tells them? Doesn't he go in there? And didn't he read some of those tweets? And wasn't he embarrassed by some of the tweets that kid that he was protecting was putting out there? Because that's not the personification that Urban Meyer puts out about who he is and how he recruits
and
this
how
real
he wants
life
to bring
Wednesdays
kids shit and all this
shit.
Yeah.
And the booms and this and that.
See, here's where another reason I've wrestled with this, even before bringing up those names. Like, Urban has done some things that have rubbed people the wrong way, right?
For sure.
And Urban has protected some players that have been in some shit. And part of that's his job, and part of that's he wants to win.
They got killers.
You know, in many ways, Dre, none of this relates to that. But it appears from what we know right now at 10 o'clock on August 1st, what's out there, very much out there, that he had an opportunity
to clean it up.
Do the right thing is a cliche, it's a big thing.
Well,
but he had an obligated thing. He didn't do it, and if this cost him his job, I cannot hate it.
Think about this.
I can't. I understand.
I can't either. I know there's gonna be frustration, and I know I get the fans that are hell bent and their Saturdays are all about being Buckeyes and all about painting, putting a face. I get that. Look, I'm one of you, but I got to keep my senses at the same time, because if he would have handled this the correct way when it happened originally. Remember how I told you that there's a lot of people out there, maybe even me a little bit, that because he's been such a prickly prick at times that I don't root for him. Like I don't root for the person, I root for the coach.
Amen.
I hate saying it, but it is what it is. I root for the coach, not the person, because I know how prickly and a prick he can be. If what we've heard, because this is all, and trust us, we don't know the finality of this, just like no one else does. But I know what I've been told and I heard. If he would have handled this differently and done what all of us know you should do when you hear something wrong, no matter the loyal. And I texted you guys earlier. I love you guys.
Keep going, folks. He said he knew of the first incident and didn't know of the second.
Didn't a second. Right.
His words, not anybody else's.
Right. And they're going to be used against him. And if
not screenshotted.
Yeah, they're
not tweeted.
But dude, how about the receipts? That's 2018. Give that dude credit. Give me the receipts, and bam, he got them. And you should know. And here's the other thing. And kids, don't take this the wrong way. But this is me being real as can be. And let me finish the other point. If he would have did the right thing, we would be able to look at him as a total different person, and it wouldn't be about the coaching.
Exactly.
But here's the other thing. In 2018, boys and girls. Now, this is going to be a little off kilter than anything else, because this goes both ways. Back in the day, a rapper once said, a man and a woman could be a bitch. I'm not calling people bitches, but I'm trying to make a point of something. If you get caught up in the mix with somebody that's got a lot of dirt under their fingers, the breakaway ain't gonna be easy, right? Like you, because I keep hearing people, and I hear this, and this is foul, and we've all been a part of it. I keep hearing, well, she may have been cheating on him. She may have been doing this. She was a hellraiser. She was that. She was this. When is it right when somebody gets the shit beat out of them to put dirt out on them?
What'd you say to us in a text today? Some of your best friends in the world. I love you. I'll do anything for you. I ain't losing my shit for you.
Exactly. It's the truth. I love y'all.
I mean, and when you're an adult, it's kind of how it is.
Right. If y'all do some dumb shit, I'm not losing my job because of y'all. I'm not losing my pedigree. I'm not losing the pedigree of who I am as a person.
Presentation is the word I keep coming back to. And I'm not smart enough to get into what contractually is, what law-wise is.
Right.
I'm not, and I am not athletic enough to get on the high horse to even talk about morally what's right. I'll tell you, a college coach from another sport called me today and said, I want you to call me back with information because I'm intrigued by this, but I want to raise you a question before you do that. I said, okay. And he said, there is no way that Ohio State could say we're going to suspend him for 2 or 3 games. He goes, because then it never goes away.
Right.
Because then it's a slap on the wrist. Then we don't respect this situation. So it's they either got to say, we have thoroughly vetted and investigated this and believe that he didn't know and believe he's the right person to lead our program, or he's out. And we got to go forward because there is a breaking point right there.
So he'll be losing his job.
And this is a person that is talking to me conversationally, but in the back of his mind thinking about his own money, family thing.
Absolutely. We all should.
Contract.
We all should.
Whole deal.
Well, here's the other thing, kids. Think about this.
Freedom of Information Act that people, his
yes,
phone.
It's y'all
watch all of these things.
Y'all watch. I keep telling y'all, be watching what y'all tweeting, twanking, and everything else y'all be doing. Them kids out here and all that social media. It don't die. And wouldn't it be amazing that with everything that he probably, and I had a Michigan person say this to me today, and it wrinkled me because I know wrong from right.
See, this is the extra layer to this that social media brings. In addition to bringing it to us instantly, is there is a portion of the population, and I'm not going to guess what percentage, that will always defend Ohio State.
Yes.
I saw it with Tress.
The honks.
Right? And nobody thinks Tress is a bad person.
No.
Was what it was.
I think Tress should stop. I think Tress should get the job back.
And there's a portion of the Michigan population that will always be anti-Ohio State and say, not only should be fired, you should get the electric chair tomorrow.
Yes. And I get it. But see, that's what... And I want to be a better person going forward. But that's what kind of... You just hit on something that has boiled my skin today. The Michigan fan or the anti-Urban fan that's running the victory lap. Like, okay, what have you accomplished?
Perspective is lacking.
He kicked your ass on the football field. He wasn't a great person. Or he made a bad... Here's the thing. He's maybe made some bad decisions, and I've said this, and I don't want to go through my phone. And this goes back.
I don't want to go through your phone either.
Shit.
And I sure as shit don't want you going through mine.
There's only one person I worry about that with. I want to say this right. God, and you made me lose it because that was funny. My thing is this: no matter what you think of Urban Meyer, and you have heard, I agree with Zach. If he knew and didn't do anything, he deserves to lose his job and not get paid. But I gotta say this, because we lack loyalty as a nation right now. And what we're loyal to scares me. I heard an interview on the Breakfast Club this morning. Cohen, I can't think of his first name. Dude that used to be with Def Jam, because he was talking about how opiates are so bad for our society, and it's worse than drug he's seen. But he's got a bunch of rappers and musicians talking about him, and he was like, well, I got kids to feed. He was like, I'm worried about these drugs, but these guys rap about it, but I got to put food on the table. And it made me think about loyalty, because I was listening to this on the plane today, and it goes back to the whole loyalty thing to me. It's like he knows what's right and wrong for our nation and for his city, his town, but the first thing that comes to him is I got to put food on the table, and I get that. Running the victory lap because Urban Meyer was loyal to someone's grandson that was his mentor and was the most important people in his life. I'm not saying he's dying on the stake. I'm not saying, I don't want to say that. But at the same time, if that's what you're going to run the victory lap over out of the things he's been accused of and been around, it's pretty short-sighted.
I mean, when we're talking about the outside.
Because here's what social because of the loyalty does. Something, though. He was wrong. It's awful. It's stupid. It's dumb. But damn. I don't know.
Listen, we always talk about how we're old. Right?
Yes.
And I went shopping for shoes today and I never felt older.
Hey, how about that sale you saw? $69 to $69.
We'll have a discussion on that afterwards. But let me ask you this, Trey. And this, I think, is a good way to get out of here as we wrap this up. Because there's only so much that can be said.
No, yeah.
And honestly, by the time people listen to this, something else might drop, develop, happen, whatever. We don't know. Okay. We're sitting here outside your beautiful home. You came home from your amazing job and were able to hug and kiss your wife and kids and have me over and chill and all of these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
At any given time, there could be a domestic dispute.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
Your neighbors could call the cops. Your wife could call the cops. You could lose your cool. Guilty or not, temporary or not, it could happen.
It could happen. It can happen to anybody.
It can happen to anybody at any time in any neighborhood. Not this one, not mine, not any of them.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So no guilt or innocence, no bear in a court of law or in a court of public opinion, whatever. When the second time it happens, don't you look at it differently?
Oh yeah. That's
my thing.
If you heard, you know me about as well as anybody in this world. Sorry. If that happened in my life, I'm pretty sure the second time you'd be like, Dre, what the fuck? You'd pull me to the side, you'd come see me, and you'd be like, what is going on? You and Rob would pull me to the side and be like, hey man, you're out of control. Whatever's happening, whatever's going on, it's got to change.
Right.
This can't be you.
And the first time, you got to explain it to your friends, to your employers, to your neighbors, whatever.
Right.
The second time, I'm not sure what leverage you have in explaining anything.
Right. Well, but see, to me,
if your employer is contractually obligated to report that to their boss, to their whoever, that's what I'm saying.
This is about something. Quick question.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll roll it up because you hit on it. how much emotional? I always talk about the decisions with your heart, with your brain. How much emotional tug does the University of Ohio State University, you just slabs can get it however you want. How much emotion do they have about this decision, considering it was Earl Bruce's grandson? And how many of those people that maybe work, or maybe that are on this committee, or maybe paying attention, knew Earl, worked with Earl, worked for Earl, friends with Earl? I'm just saying, it's not just like it's. You understand what I'm saying? This isn't just like some kid that grew up in Buffalo.
The speculative answer is, do they hate themselves right now for maybe what they knew and didn't talk about?
Hell yeah.
But we can't go there.
We can't, because we'll
just
never
like
know.
number 12 on the Browns.
Right.
Yeah.
No, good call. But you understand what I'm saying.
I understand exactly.
But there's a lot of people that probably, and I didn't even go that far. There's a lot of people that probably are looking at themselves like, I got to really make a really hard decision when Urban Meyer is going to have to take this one for the team if it's wrong. But I said a key word there, the team. I'm sure he wasn't the only one.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll straight out tell you a thing that's working against him here. This is not related to Tressel. This is not related to Jim O'Brien. These are different incidents.
Ooh, Jim O'Brien.
It's a different time. It's a different thing. But what's working against him is Ohio State, the program, has always been bigger than anybody, even Urban fucking Meyer.
Hell yeah.
And the thing I've always loved about him, other than his intensity, is that his middle initial is legitimately F. So you could say Urban F. Meyer.
Right. Frankie.
But I just, as we record this, I just got the feeling that Ohio State's going to tell him we're bigger than you and you got to go.
He should understand that.
And as of right now, based on what we know right now,
yeah,
I not only understand that, I support that.
Me too. Like I said, the only how they can get out of this is they have to prove that he didn't know about the second time. And
listen,
and he would have to pull a lot of wool.
I'll tell you this, I have a fear here. We've been doing this for 5 years or so. We've been doing this in different formats than this, and when we had a lot more drinks than we had tonight. One time, if we ever had to stop it, because we thought we might have said, and that was just because we said something at the same time that came off a little goofy. Right. Because of the sensitive nature here and the amount of information and the amount of hearsay,
yes,
I'm a little worried that in the course of these minutes that we said something silly. I just am.
Yeah. But if you know this podcast,
what we're trying to say is, like, this is tough. Like, I didn't want to talk about this, but again, like, I thought we had to. This is the number one sports story. I mean, it's
because it's a story. It's not.
Drake, I mean,
it's not a sports story. It's
the Red Sox, Yankees, Cowboys.
Oh,
what?
Ohio
State football is there.
It's in there,
right?
The whole world is watching, and I hate
the whole world.
And
is
I've
watching.
done the one thing that I didn't want to do.
Phil Knight is watching.
Yeah,
LeBron James is watching.
The whole world is watching.
The whole world is watching.
And I hate to say this, after the Penn State situation, you know the effects.
I hate to agree with that.
And it's not the Penn State situation.
Cover-up's a cover-up to an extent.
Yeah,
it is.
You can't cover up Watergate. I mean, go through like our history. Watergate. You can't cover shit up. And you're, as a leader, you're responsible.
And again, right now we don't know what happened.
Right. We don't. All right. You know what? On that note,
we don't know what Gene Smith thinks or his superiors think.
I got to. I'm being real, and I got nothing against Gene Smith.
Yeah, but he's stolen a lot of money for a long time.
Well, that's not no doubt.
Yeah.
But think about this: how do you survive the Jim Tressel situation and then this situation?
Yeah.
When you're in charge.
When they didn't get when they got all the things they got in Tressel. And they didn't get lack of institutional control. Right. Wasn't that a laugher?
Yeah. Hell yeah. And that wouldn't happen anywhere else. If it was Colorado, Kansas State, you name the smaller school that doesn't make money.
NCAA got so mad at Kentucky they hit Cleveland State with a couple more years of probation.
If you ain't the big dog, like I said, I got nothing against Gene, but you can't continue to have these type of things and you're in charge. Just how it is. All right, I want to do this I want to leave on a softer note. It's how we feel. I'm sure we'll talk about it again. It is what it is. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Who are we going to pick with our first pick in fantasy football?
Oh, man. I've been meaning to tell you I had a confession.
Liz is my confessions.
And that was like almost 4 weeks ago now. I was sitting in the airport.
That's like 40 claws ago.
Going to see Joe Schobert.
Yeah.
And somebody hit me with a sarcastic fantasy question on Twitter because I always say, tell me about your fantasy team. And I had like an hour and a half layover, and I sat with my phone plugged in that airport, and I looked up fantasy football stuff.
That's my dog.
And I was ashamed.
Nah, that's my dog.
Yeah, okay, so we get the first pick.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Look at you. Oh, man.
Todd Gurley.
I love it. You know what?
Here's a bigger question.
You know why fantasy football is like a drug? Because like around Thanksgiving, I don't care if my teams are good, bad, indifferent. I hate it.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's terrible.
But right now,
So quick story if you haven't listened, we've talked about this league before. Dre's been in this league for I think legit 20 years.
Yeah, it's been a while, yeah.
So I knew some of the guys, and the draft is held where I used to live. I used to come by. Well, then Dre gets his job. He can't be around. So
Zach used to show up when he wasn't even in the draft. He just knew I was there, and he knew a bunch of degenerates.
I knew people were drinking at 10:30 in the morning.
On a Sunday.
I was coming by.
On a Sunday. And he was
Yeah. So anyway, then I kind of took over the draft, but then we argue, we bicker, whatever. And here's the thing. 2 years ago, we won it, or we took.
Yeah.
Well, we won all year, and then we split.
Yeah, we split at the end.
But do you remember? You couldn't even tell you within $100 of how much money it was because that wasn't the point.
I don't care.
It was about the winning.
Yes.
And then last year we had a crappy
year.
year.
Had a crap year.
So this year is back to redemption.
Yeah.
Okay, so Todd Gurley's going to go first in like every draft in America.
Yeah.
If we get second, who do you want?
I think, but see this is the problem with, and I'm going to raise
Answer the question, bitch.
Ezekiel Elliott's lost a lot of weight. That's the problem. I'm saying.
Speaking of upstanding citizens who have spent time in Columbus, Ohio. I hate making light of this.
But I think AB could be good to take two.
Right.
Where's Le'Veon Bell? What are you taking the Le'Veon Bell situation? There's videos out now of him in strip clubs.
He was not ready to play last year until he was not because he didn't come to camp.
But he was a beast when he showed up.
And he's running for money.
And
to give the Steelers the big middle finger.
Yes.
And they can win a ring.
They can win.
Listen, if it's not for that bullshit catch rule last
year,
they do
win the ring.
They win that game, and then the whole bracket's different.
Yes, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Yes, for sure. Why do people forget all that? Hey, where's Saquon? And we may do this again. I like just doing this.
Yeah, we'll do
it
fun. Again.
This is fun. And to be honest with you,
because we'll keep it in layman's terms.
Yeah, and then we need some levity after that conversation because sports are sports.
Amen.
Saquon Barkley, I don't like. Oh, you know who my favorite running. Well, the two running backs we've already said are great. I hate the Jacksonville's talking all this 16-0 shit because they are really good, but they got a terrible quarterback. But they do got one of my favorite running backs and my favorite corner.
Don't you think they got to come back to reality
a little bit? But look at their division.
That defense is real.
The defense is no joke.
Yeah, and last year that division there was no Andrew Luck. They were coached by Chuck Pagano, who's like it wasn't even there.
Okay, but who is Andrew Luck right now?
It's a great question.
I hope he's the dude that was number one pick, but he didn't play in 2 years.
But listen, if Deshaun Watson doesn't get hurt,
look out.
Yeah.
Look out.
J.J. Watt was hurt.
Look out. Hey, and their running back may put up some numbers just because they can spread you out with the speed of Hopkins.
Yeah.
If you get Whitney and Watt healthy, and then they got the Honey Badger, that team could be a fun team.
Let's not make Browns fans cry anymore.
No, but this has been think about that. We've been doing the Action Jackson for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks now, and that's the most fun we've had talking NFL.
Yeah, it is.
And we haven't even talked about the Super Bowl champions.
So for my actual Askin Jackson mailbag column, which I think is going to drop this weekend, I was thinking about writing about the legend of Ben Gay because you asked the question about training camp.
Yeah, you got to.
Some of the stories aren't from training camp, but that was a rare cat. That dude.
Kids need to know. But you know what? I would pay you $100 out of my own pocket to find Ben Gay and get a quote from him.
I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, where do I even start?
That's why I'll give $100. I don't know.
TexasJails.com.
Yeah, kids starting Kansas jails and work your way down.
Texas, Kansas.
Yes. See, I remember stuff and see what bars he's at the door taking your ID at.
Man,
I hope he's got to be alive.
Oh, what a time!
What a time! He's got to be alive, right?
You think we'd have heard?
Yeah. So it's crazy because Quincy Morgan. It's funny how old Browns just pop up on Twitter out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think that's a real account. I think that's some sad loser.
It's probably sad. It's a sad dude that lives in Berea that was just excited for Browns. Yeah. He's sad, but think about how excited he is for Browns football. I'm gonna play Quincy Morgan football. That's why I had to say it like that. Quincy Morgan football. And how about our boy Sonny taking pictures with Dennis Northcutt? We getting old, man. And how about I got another friend whose kid is
listen, what was the better part about my Instagram post? The Sunny voice or the 69?
Sunny voice.
69.
And all these certain people gonna laugh at that.
Yeah, people are like, what are you guys even talking?
Jamil White is my one of my other friends' son's soccer coach. It says he keeps it real as hell. It's like she came over to the house.
He's still driving a CRV.
And she was like,
what do you think I'll rap for? To push a fucking rap for?
Could you imagine Swole being a soccer coach?
Swole, I forgot that name.
Could you imagine Swole coming up with his shirt, cutting off his biceps, coaching soccer? That's real. He's coaching soccer on the east side.
Yeah, he lived like out on a little mountain golf course
Yes,
last time.
he's still out there. He's coaching soccer right now. Woof, 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 woof.
Time. Hey,
you're a week away from covering a fucking football game.
it's crazy, isn't it?
It's awesome and crazy.
A week from tonight, I'll be in New York. It is.
No, last time the Browns played a preseason game in
Although
New York.
I'm staying in New Jersey. That city's not for me.
No,
man.
it's not.
It's just not.
Well, where you guys stay, and you stay right across the street from the Bada Bing. That's what we did when we were with the Browns.
I don't
You
know.
know that's what it was though.
Yeah, no, they're staying.
We stayed in Jersey, right across from in the Sopranos, the Bada Bing, the strip club in the Sopranos. The Browns back 10 years ago stayed right across the street from
Yeah,
there.
no, I'm at some random Hampton Inn in some little cove in New Jersey. I'm not coming out.
And Jersey's not. Yeah, that's a different. That's not one of the.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rest.
Yeah, as a reporter, that's not the. That's not as sexy as people think.
Hey, A to Z Podcast.com, Facebook.com/A to Z Podcast, Scene, Honeymoon Grill, American Fireworks, AmericanFireworks.com. Help make this happen. It's you guys that have helped this thing grow. A to Z Podcast.com/shop. Buy a t-shirt. Tell your friends. I mean, we appreciate the shares, the likes, the tweets, the retweets, all those things. But through our extensive research and our White Claw telling stories, telling a friend is the best way to do it. So for Andre?
Yeah, man. What he said is absolutely right. Everything. We appreciate you guys, and this has been great. I hope we can do this more often.
1 hour.
Hope it sounded.
I would
all
have
right.
guessed that was 20 minutes.
I know. That means it's
Yeah,
still,
see, now we got to find out if it sounds any good.
Yeah, hopefully it sounds
I
good.
tested it pretty good. I
Yeah,
think
you're
it does.
fine. I mean, you mess up things all the time. But remember,
38 years of counting.
remember this. Just remember what truly matters to you and loyalty. I'm loyal to a lot of things, but you can only be loyal to so many people. Talk to y'all later. I'm off on my music game, so I'm gonna talk till I get to the part that I need to, because that's what I do.
Oh, that's always been a struggle for you to keep talking.
Oh, I can tell you that's never been a struggle.
Okay,
Hey, you know what?
Clark.
You know what? When I got dropped off earlier, I got to tell you the best thing that happened to me the other day. I took the kids and dropped the wife off to work, and me and the kids hung out, and I made AJ watch Fairview Park practice football for a minute. Why? Because it's in my blood.
It is.
Fired. We'll talk to you guys later. Go ahead. You can say something real quick.
I got nothing else to say. You've been listening to the A to Occasionally Z podcast.
Loyalty. 10-4, no switching sides. Feel something wrong. You acting shit.